Alright, welcome back to episode 67 of History Rewritten. In the last episode, we had a big war over here in California, Vancouver. They attacked this brown country who still exists, just worse off by a large extent. We had the USB talking to China and being like, hey, stop interfering. Stop messing around, dude. Or else I will get involved. And they also looked at their sphere of influence, which is a bit like this. So that's a lot of countries. And we also saw a split of more countries in Africa, possibly also some stuff down here. Scotland joined the Korean alliance along with, not the red one, the Kyushu. And that was about it, really. Anyway, so today we're going to do more stuff with Africa, because African Civil War. Yippee. Not yippee. Oh yeah, we also saw this country, this random blue one. They now exist. And also more stuff in South America, because I want to make this place interesting. So let's do that. So where do you want to start? Well, there's a lot of places I could start. However, let's start off simple. We have a new country joining the Indian Ocean Economic Alliance, or Indian Ocean IOL, I think it is. Indian Ocean Economic League. So, I have quite a few countries in that already, I believe. I think it's 12. We've got. Let's list them off, shall we? That sounds like fun. There's the Indian Ocean. Bengal is leading this. They're the strongest economy in this alliance, standing at the 5th economy in the world. 1, 2, 3's over there. 4, 5. Yeah, the 5th. 6. You know this already. I've told you loads of times. Bengal is first, then it's, well, not in any economic order, but I suppose I could do it economically. Probably India's second, almost definitely. But Bengal, Myanmar, the Andaman Islands, the green Indian country, yellow Indian country, the lime team, the blue Indian one, Sumatra, at least that's the purple Sumatra because it's the original one. The orange one is more in the Chinese sphere, so they probably, well, they're more aligned with them than Bengal. I mean, ties are probably still there. Tanzania, this coast. North Madagascar, because that's, well, I mean, I think this, it was united when they both joined, however, they recognized this as the true Malagasy country, so, yeah, they're still allowed in. And then the Maldives and Java. So they're adding a new country, and it's going to be the Persian one. So, yeah, that's, should, unless I'm bad at maths, take it away up to 13 countries. Other countries could join, like, well, of course they can, well done. This blue one's thinking about joining. I mean, I don't think these guys would join because they're, once again, Chinese aligned. And Bengal and China really need to fight for influence down here in Southeast Asia. I mean, the Koreans are also there. And it is interesting because Bengal and Korea both don't like China. However, I mean, they're not that close really. In World War I, Bengal wasn't in the war. And in World War II, Korea just kind of did their own bit for a while. I think Bengal was one of the countries that declared World War II. Did I say World War III? I'm like, World War II is what I meant. They declared the war. However, the Koreans joined an awful lot later because their country was an awful lot weaker. You know, they'd been invaded before and they lost the first one, so naturally they didn't want to join immediately. So that's why for that, I mean, the Koreans have influence in, like, the alliance of this country, and their influence kind of bit like this in Southeast Asia, and you've also got New Zealand and anyone else, I think. Well, Vietnam's kind of aligned with you guys. And also this island. And yeah, it's very complicated. But you've got quite a lot of this stuff under your influence because of the Lime team. I didn't do the religion map again. The Lime team went down here and colonized a load of this initially before the Europeans took it all and made the borders look really horrible religiously. Nice. You're alright. And you guys might also join sometime in the future. Possibly next episode. Talking about economic alliances, we have a lot of countries in Africa. An awful lot. And currently there are 19 countries in the African Economic Alliance, AEA. And we might see a new one, however, well, some new ones, there's quite a lot of countries that could join. And, I mean, the really annoying thing about Africa is it's very divided influentially. You've got the Moroccan sphere. Should we draw it? I could draw it. I already drew it before. I've literally got a picture of it on my phone. Yeah. Moroccan sphere of influence looks a bit like pink country goes into the orange. And then cuts across the yellow country, goes back up here. Then you have the Senegalese sphere, which is just all this stuff. I'm going out because we've got this island country. Algeria's influence is basically this. And then these guys are kind of different, so yeah, that's a lot of influence. And then the remainder of Africa is under the influence of South Africa. So there's 4 different countries who have got lots of influence. Of course, you could divide it down with Egypt having influence over like this area, and I mean Tanzania's got influence over like a lot of this, including this Madagascar bit. That's their sphere. So yeah, you can definitely divide it down, but you can do that with any sphere. It's just that Africa, there's a lot more strong countries. Well, there's much more of a divide between strong countries and weaker countries. In other continents, it's like, oh, you're all kind of at this power level. Africa, there's some that are just incredibly poor. Anyway, things you might have noticed. Well, Madagascar. That's not Madagascar. Nigeria. They had a split in the last episode. We had this weird Cameroon country go into existence. Yeah, you exist now. Well done. And that's because there was a conflicting bit where the Moroccans had lots of influence over here, but the Senegalese and Algerians had lots of influence in this part of the country, the richer bit. Same thing's occurring here in the yellow country, and I'm sure that's only good. And now you're going, wait, why are you drawing a big line through it? Well, that's unfortunately because they're going to have a civil war. Yippee. Right. Boom. There is our new government. So these guys split off from the main government. Let's just do this color. I don't know which color to make them. It's definitely not going to be that pink. These guys split off from the main northern government, and that's really a problem. So the north is where the capital is. Is there anything else in the north? No. There's literally nothing else out here economically. It's just the capital city. All your other 3 out of your 4 cities are in the south, and they're under the influence of the Moroccans. Lots of the military is... Well, a bit of the military is up here defending the capital city, but quite a lot of it is on the border of other aggressive countries. You've got a lot on this city, which is quite a big one for your country. These guys aren't that aggressive, really. However, this one's a bit... and so is this one slightly, so you've got military assets in these 2 cities and along the south. You guys went to war with someone, I think, and you lost a lot of territory, so you're quite unstable. So most of the military is in the south rather than the north, and that's not good, because that means the military is aligned with the south. And that means a huge invasion into the northern part of the country, and yeah, nobody really knows what to do, because the Moroccans and the Algerians haven't really admitted yet that, you know, they're against each other and they might have to fight this African Cold War. They're not prepared to openly say like, oh, I don't like you, I think we're gonna have to scrap using African countries. Neither of them have openly gone out and said that to the other. But they don't know what to do here because there's a civil war that's developed because of their differing influences and opinions on lots of different things around the world. And that's becoming a problem. So what do? I mean, these guys are literally calling out to you guys for help, and the northern ones are calling out to you guys for help. I mean, you have to help your side, but then you're working against the person who you're afraid of working against. So nobody really knows what to do. Yeah, it's a very difficult problem. The eastern Libyans, I mean, are kind of thinking, oh, should I go and occupy the capital? Because this is just absolute anarchy. And in the end, the blue team will authorize an attack from the eastern Libyans on the capital, and they take it very quickly. They take the capital. Let's just do this color actually. They take the capital city very easily. However, this is going to cause even more anarchy throughout the country, as a huge load of it falls away to the Southern Civil War rebel group thing. The Algerian country does not want this to happen to the country. They don't think this is a good way for it to go, and they want to restore it how it was. It wasn't part of the AEA, the African Economic Alliance. However, this country was in their sphere of influence, so they kind of want to bring them back. But the Moroccans are happy with it how it is. They're like, why don't you just annex this bit into Western Libya, or divide it between like Sudan and Orange Team, like these guys, because they're all your friends. But then pointing that out is kind of like, hey, look, these guys are your allies, and these guys are our allies. This is like a different thing, and that's how it all goes wrong. So now you've just got a load of anarchist people in this area, and I mean it's really not going great over here, because people are just dying and starving. The Moroccans, the Algerians aren't really helping them out. We've just got these guys occupying the northern bit. However, something stupid is going to happen. Stupid is going to happen, and that is that the southern rebel group will invade this area and push towards the border of Western Libya. So there's not a whole load of Eastern Libya. So there's not a huge amount of military assets down here, and it's not very tricky for them to separate off these areas. Pretty quickly they take this bit. However, forces from the Orange country, who is Algerian aligned, will push into that area to recapture it. And yeah, these guys, these southern rebels, take this as a sign of war from the Orange country. And this has just escalated so far. It's just got so much messier than it needs to be, and the Orange country has now found itself in a war. They sent quite a small military division now because it's like just a load of militia guys. However, they're going to send more and more of their military, and Algeria's kind of like, hey dude, maybe you shouldn't do that. However, they go ahead with it, and they pour their military into this country. And this is, actually let's do this colour, because I'm going to do different colours now I suppose. This is worrying for the Algerians, because now a country under their influence is doing some stuff they don't entirely agree with. I mean, they're not doing anything bad, it's just they're invading this country, and that's not great. By the way, the capital of the Southern Rebellion country is going to be right here. Well, that's where it would be. For this like civil war nation, it's right there. I mean, it's not really set up to be a country yet, because they haven't been around long enough to do that. However, that's kind of where all their main stuff is. You know, Algeria is kind of saying to the Green Team, how about you just attack the capital city, and we can like get this done a lot very quickly. You can just easily push in towards these cities. Sudan's right over here. Even this lilac one, like you're a very violent nation. How about, or slightly anarchist? How about you just take that and we'll give you some land. Then we can clean up the problem. However, these guys, yeah, you're Moroccan influence, so you're not going to do what these guys say. And that just makes even more of a divide. It makes people in these countries go, hey, these guys are working against us. I don't like these guys. And that's really not helpful. I love your borders. It's really not helpful. So, the Eastern Libyans will continue instead, with these guys invading, to invade themselves, and that means they end up going to war with the Southern Rebel country. Eastern Libya's like, what did I do? Why? Why, man? You do not have to do that to me. So they're going to take this huge area, the Orange countries at least, and the Moroccans, people in the Moroccan country are kind of like, how about you get one of your people involved so that we can actually stop losing this civil war, because this country is going to you for help. But they don't really know what to do. I mean, do they invade one of these countries? They could. Or do they invade this country to try and restore order to it? But then they're invading an ally, and that might look bad for the populace. So nobody's really sure what to do with this. However, it might get pretty bad pretty soon. Orange country military just kind of made an interesting development, getting into the core territory of the southern group. However, it's going to get even worse, because they make a push straight towards the capital city, surrounding this area of the country down here, taking these two bits. And the capital city is very undefended at this point. The Eastern Libyans try to push through a bit more, however they come across lots of anarchist things, and I mean, the Algerians are kind of like, how about you deal with all of the humanitarian problems that are happening at the moment. The Orange team is invading, which is kind of what we want. However, they are very, very close to the capital city. But then things are going to go wrong, because the Moroccans issue an order to this greenish country, and they're like, hey dude, occupy the capital right now. We need to stop the Orange country from getting it, because they're impeding on the rights of the people in this southern country. So yeah, the Green Team has just joined the war. I mean, it's not really a war, but like they've joined this big old issue over here in Africa. and now they've occupied this part of the country. So, great stuff. Great, we occupied this bit, and the orange team's really annoyed at the green country for doing that. Why? We're trying to restore order to this area. Like, oh, you're encroaching on this stuff. And, yeah. The green country has just invaded one of the major cities of the orange country. They're going to send a lot of their military assets to go and push out the orange country from this area. I mean, Eastern Libya is very close to setting up like a new government, like over here in these provinces they've got control of. However, it's all going up in flames to the orange country, and they're afraid the green country is going to take too much territory, so they quickly send their forces into this area, install the Eastern Libyan government kind of back in control of this bit. They de facto own it, and these guys are just occupying a lot of desert. But what do we do here? I mean, these southerners want their stuff back from these guys, this green country. How the green country is in the middle of a war, so yeah, the green country is going to allow these guys to get, their capital city back and some other territories. However, they want to make sure the purple country doesn't get any of it. So the green team, with a pretty good surprise attack, they will manage to surround the fleeing orange team forces, and lots of them are sent to camps where they're captured. And the blue team's like, dude, what the hell? You're just taking a load of our troops and stuff like that. You can't do that, man. So lots of the orange team military is taken, and there's also lots of equipment from the blue Algerian country, as the capital of the orange country is captured by the green team, who is really not a strong country. So from here, like everyone's like, what the hell are we doing? What do we do now? Nobody's got a clue. People are wondering about, do we just take down the green country at this point? I mean, the orange country is now collapsed into its own form of anarchy. So the blue team will send their forces into this along with conjunction from the western Libyan country. So they send some of their forces in to occupy this, and it's now just a question of, do you get this military alliance involved, blue country? Do you invade the green one? Because how's Morocco going to react to this? Anyway, these southerners are pushing back up against the eastern Libyan territory, and nobody knows what to do. I mean, it's all a huge mess. They're wondering whether they should probably just sit down for a peace conference. So, in the end, that's what they're going to do, as they decide to divide up this territory. So the orange country is going to be reinstalled into these areas. They get their capital city back, and they get some of this. So the green country will take some of these provinces from them, taking all these areas up here. The yellow country, it's really unsure what to do with them. In the south, they're going to make a new country. It's going to be this sort of thing. It is going to be pink, yeah. You also occupied some of these northern areas, and the consensus is, why don't we just have these areas stay with the pink country? They've kind of been converted at this point, and there's not a whole lot of people living there. So the pink country now exists. Then what to do with the rest of these provinces? I suppose you can reinstall the yellow country in this bit. Like, what? Wow. This is very strange. What to do with these bits as well of the green country? Do you return all the stuff to the orange nation? I mean, the green country are going to return this city, so they might as well return this. And as for this bit, are you going to return it to the yellow country? Yeah, they do. The yellow country is going to have a slight bit of stuff happen to them, with the Eastern Libyans taking this area of their country, just so that their capital is a lot more protected, in that it's going to be very hard to get to the capital without Eastern Libya being notified and being able to just jump in and save them. So they're kind of annoyed that they lost some land, but it's not valuable land, so they're alright with that, kind of. I mean, they just suffered a civil war, so any land is valuable land, technically. And also your borders look absolutely horrific, so that's nice. But yeah, as you can see, things aren't going so great in Africa. These countries are getting stronger, that's definitely true. Countries are becoming stronger countries. However, with stronger countries, you have more of like a presence on the global stage, and yeah, it's complications, but that's quite a lot of fun. I mean, I enjoyed that intensely problematic conflict, and I hope there's a load more like it sometime in the future. Let's not. So, the capital of this pinkish country is going to be in this city. Bam. And yeah, I mean the Green country would love to just annex the city so they can join their bits together between around Chad or Lake Chad. However, no, not allowed by the Moroccans. But yeah, that was an interesting conflict. So there you go, Africa updated. I'm probably going to do a lot of stuff in Africa because I want to make it interesting. And now the pink country is even further into the Moroccan sphere, and the yellow country further into the blue country sphere. However, people are very reluctant to add new countries to these alliances because it just makes even more of a threat of a huge African conflict. So yeah. Now there's other things I would like to do in Africa, but I don't know if you should do them yet. Looking at the USB though, they are going to be creating their own Latin America Economic Alliance thing. What do we call this? I don't know. South American Economic Alliance. That doesn't spell anything. South American Union. SAU. Okay. USB, of course, in this. Which other countries will they be adding? Well, they're going to add Peru. They will also be adding this southern one, so they're going to put Horn Island. It's 3. By southern one, I mean this one. The most southern country in South America. And possibly the entire world. Depends on New Zealand. I don't know. They would also like to add Venezuela. The Blue Amazon one, which is not the USB. It's this one, and this is pretty Amazonian, I think, hopefully. Apart from that, they would also like to, you'd kind of like to get these guys in, because they're very strong on the African stage. You get, North Chile, whatever the hell it's called. These two guys could potentially join, and the brown country would like to also get to join. Especially along with all these guys. If you get these 3 countries to join, that's very good, because they're all very strong economically. So that'll be nice. And the Lesser Antilles, they'd probably like to join this. It's just they're a very, very neutral nation. They don't do an awful lot. However, joining the USB's alliance would probably protect them from stuff. Well, it's not a military alliance, it's just economic. I don't know. Do we want to throw them in? Colombia is another country they'd like to get because it'd be very beneficial to them. Let's add the Green Amazon one. Green Amazon, which is this one, possibly the Andes, so let's put Andes instead. That is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 countries. Cool. What are the implications of this around the world? People are just like, oh, well done, USB for making an economic alliance. We've got a lot more of those. It's not really something you had in the past, so they didn't exist in the past, which is why they didn't exist. So there's that, but yeah. Economic stuff. Going up here to North America, we have another war. It's been declared by this Hudson country. They're going to be declaring war on this greenish one. It's got 4 major cities. That's quite a lot. And the territory isn't too bad, so it's a bit cold. Yeah, it's an alright thing to take. These guys just, it's a very flawed democracy they've got over here. So the green country, as well as just wanting land and resources, are going to invade it to help democracy. So green country troops will move in after this city here. I can't honestly remember who colonized this. I have no idea. Who colonized you? Is it no signs really? Was it the Irish? Was it the British? I don't know. This is an Irish colony. This is British. This is also British. Was this British? I have no idea. I feel like it was British. Anyway, more troops from this country will move in across the border, and they're kind of pushing around down to this city, and they take it. People flee into the USB. What the heck? 13 colonies, but the 13 colonies kind of like, I don't know what to do. Really, you should go back to your country. The Hudson one is actually quite good allies with the 13 colonies, so yeah, they're fine to be honest. They're just, your leader's been in power for like 15 years now, so yeah, maybe not the best place. Anyway, they move in after the capital city. After sieging it with boats in this lake, whatever world this is called, they manage to take the capital city, and this country is going to kind of capitulate from here. We have more naval invasions happening at this major city, and eventually they just send their entire force in, and take the remainder of the country. So, cool. And there's that. And yeah, stronger countries in North America. These ones are quite strong in general, because there's less like mountains and rainforest. In fact, I don't really think there's any rainforest except for in Costa Rica. But that's not as North American as these North American guys. The Costa Rican country is stronger than you probably think. They are a very strong country. They're possibly stronger than some of the Mexican ones, even. I think probably stronger than the grey one. So, that's exciting. As in grey, I mean this great country who has horrible borders. Speaking of those horrible borders, bam, this bit was too detached, so it's an independent country now. Yeah. You caused this, dude. And there's the capital city. This nation, they're very poor. They're definitely poorer than the Costa Ricans. Costa Rica is going through a huge like economic growth thing because they annexed the Panama Canal, or at least the western side of it. So yeah, that's definitely going to help your economy. That's exciting for them. I feel like I'm making a lot of new nations at this point. However, that's good. I like there being more nations. I like nations because it's more countries to use in this. Use feels bad. Just I'm using you, even if there's hundreds of people, no, hundreds, probably thousands of people dying in like this conflict, for example. Nah, it's just entertainment, guys. That feels bad. I'm sorry. Alright, moving across to Australia. I mean, there's lots of long-term plans. I mean, now we're in like 2011, possibly 12. Yeah, no, I don't want to throw too much all at once, but there are some various things I'd like to do. One of them being another independent country. That's crazy, dude. But yeah, it's just like this area of the bluish country has the same ethnic group as this area of the greenish country. So these two bits would like to break away and form their own nation. What colour should we make this? Let's make it green again. And we could. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. Yeah, I don't know, I feel like this is a pretty good time for people to actually just be able to go, right, well this region isn't very happy, we need to give them independence. Because you've got more countries going, right, we need better living standards for people and all this sort of stuff. So, things are getting better for people around the world. That's exciting. But also, possibly see more unions. I want to add some unions. That's kind of the idea for Africa, potentially. There might be a point in Africa where we have some huge countries emerging. And that's very exciting. I'm very excited to make some huge African nations, because it will happen eventually. You guys, I don't know, you might get some huge nations eventually. I mean, this is the biggest country, like, this area. It's a very big country. Not bigger than this, I don't think. Or maybe. I'm yapping. I think I'd like to end the video here. I've got more ideas. Hainan, more genocide of those religious groups, so you know that's going on. Yeah. See you again next time anyway. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. And subscribe. Goodbye.